Hello, and welcome back to the podcast that must not be named. I'm Melissa, and I'm here discussing chapter number 14, Snape's Grudge. This chapter was 22 pages long and was 7.12% of the book.
And now, a voice of the Imaginary Legion.
Chapter 14, Severus's Animosity. Ron is finally getting his own little taste of fame and getting to see what it's like to be like Harry Potter. Just like Harry, Ron has a little bit of questions of his own on what's happening. Why didn't Sirius attack me? Why didn't he kill me? And what are Sirius's intentions? And going against Hermione's best intentions, he and Ron decide that he's going to sneak off to Hogsmeade. So Harry goes with Ron to Hogsmeade, and they're outside the Shrieking Shack. And Harry and Ron are standing there, and Harry's on the invisibility cloak. And, you know, just like other scenes, Draco comes up and he teases Ron just about his poor family and things like that. And then, of course, being the childlike that he is in his playfulness, Harry decides to push back and exposes his head to Draco. Draco goes and tells Snape about it, and Snape wants to have a conversation with Harry. And as Harry's trying to sneak back into the castle, Snape finds him, and he finds the Mordor's map. So, as Snape and Harry are talking about what the map truly is, Snape reveals more about Harry's dad, James. Snape talks about that the reason why James actually saved his life, was because James is really trying to protect himself. So Snape continues with showing the Mordor's map to Lupin, Professor Lupin, because he thinks it has dark magic. And Lupin gives Harry a bunch of grief and tells him he thinks he's a fool for using this and trying to leave the castle, knowing that everything's going on. Hagrid calls him down to his hut, and the boys see his tux, and they realize that they completely forgot to help Hagrid with the case on Buckbeak. And Hagrid gives him a lot of grief for it. Tells them that they should be listening to Hermione and that they're kind of being self-involved these days. However, their guilt continues with later at the end of the chapter, Hermione finds the boys and she's crying, and she tells them that the committee decided to execute Buckbeak. This chapter, I really think, was a lot of things. Talking about Hermione and how important she is, not just to Hagrid or the boys, but just her role as a whole in the series. Harry's image of his father, and learning from Snape that maybe his father wasn't always perfect, and that can be hard as a kid to hear that about your parents. And also, Harry just being so foolish to think that he's safe from Sirius.
Now, you may have noticed I did not have my co-host Luke join me in our opening. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Luke is not able to join me this week. I did, however, manage to arm twist a backup guest host. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Abby.
Hey, second string over here. Whoop, whoop.
Thanks for being the pinch hitter for me.
Oh, anytime.
All right. All right, Abby, so it looks like there weren't any new characters in this particular chapter. However, we did get to visit some real places.
Yes.
Tell us about those places we got to actually go see that we hadn't seen before.
We made our way to the Owl Post Office and the Shrieking Shack.
I'm very excited about these places.
They're very different, too. I mean, I guess you get the Owlery at school.
Right.
But this is the post office. This is the, workings. And the Shrieking Shack, who doesn't want to go see the most haunted thing in England?
So let me ask you, which one would you prefer to visit?
I'm not really obsessed with post offices, but, we're going to go with the Shrieking Shack. It's outside-ish. There's no birds, so.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
So I think I would rather go to the Shrieking Shack as well, but my reason is very different. Visiting the Owl Post probably means I have to spend money, and there's no admission fee to the Shrieking Shack.
Just, Chair, I had a joke. Not really. I was trying to have a joke, and it just didn't come out for me. Sorry about that. But you're right. You're right.
You are just a second string after all.
I know. Guys, I'm going to try real hard tonight.
Would you like to throw in some magicabulary that was
Sure.
new for chapter 14?
So we have security trolls, owls from Great Grays, hiccup sweets, frogs spawn soap, and nose-biting teacups.
I really want a nose-biting teacup.
I really want hiccup sweets.
Why?
I don't know. I just think, like, especially if they were packaged very well, you could just give them to somebody, not somebody you really dislike, but somebody who's just kind of on your nerves. Maybe you don't want them to talk to you. Kind of, in like oh, hey, yeah, we're totally best friends. I know. Maybe you give it to Neville. And you're like, man, Neville, maybe you should go see Madame Pomfrey.
Oh,
And it's an easy,
Neville.
it's an easy, like, I don't know what's happening. It's a bad case of hiccups.
See, I would like to get nose-biting teacups and use them at dinner with my children just because, and then like video their reactions because that would be awesome. But I've decided it's the frog spawn soap that would really capture my attention. You and I have a lot of brothers.
Yes.
I feel like that would be really good Christmas presents.
I feel like it would be really good for April Fool's Day.
All right. So listeners out there, if you have any frog spawn soap or related products, Abby and I would be interested in hitting you up for some free trials to share very kindly with our 4 brothers.
I'll buy them.
Excellent. There's an illustration.
Oh, yes.
There is. And it's a bit of a quirky illustration because it is of, I believe, Professor Snape.
That would be my guess.
And his wand is touching an old-looking piece of parchment.
Yes.
One would assume it's the Marauders map. I have to say, this is not how I picture Snape.
Me neither. That's not what I think of him as. He's a lot thinner than in this picture, I guess. I don't know.
The baggy arm
Yes.
things tend to make us believe.
Yeah, well, it's his face in this depiction, too. It's just so, like...
Well, and who said Snape has facial hair?
I mean, maybe it
And
was
a bald spot?
rough...
It doesn't look like the top of his head's a little flat. Also, like something really heavy was pushing
Yeah.
down. This is not how I picture Snape even a little bit.
Maybe the grease, usually. Maybe he actually did just take a shower, and his greasy hair isn't covering it. It doesn't stay. That's why he always has that greasy hair they talk about.
Maybe.
So
All
he can
right.
get a good comb-over going. I don't know.
All right, let's get into what are some of your notes that you were able to come up with and or steal.
Yes. So Luke, my very nice brother, did all my notes for me. Fantastic. So these
And
are
then
not
we kicked him off the show,
Yeah,
and Luke was no more. Just kidding, he'll be back.
These are not my original thoughts, but originally presented to you by me. So I'll take it. We have the fat lady was expertly restored. That was Luke's thought. My thought to that whole part of this is how much stock do they put in their portraits? She makes demands and they are met.
Well, now I would ponder, do all portraits get that level of care? Or are there like hierarchies of portrait care?
I don't...
Because she's obviously one of the more important portraits, being a guardian.
Who paints these portraits? Or are they painted? I don't even understand it.
Do they magically appear?
I don't know.
Is there some sort of magical art department?
That would be the class I'd want to take at Hogwarts.
That would be the only class I'd fail.
I probably wouldn't get a great grade in it, but, it'd be exciting. I also wondered what would happen if her demands weren't met. If they were like, no, we're not putting extra security out here. We're slapping your picture back up. Does she just never go back to that portrait again? Where does she go? What does she do?
Is she just stuck, like,
yes,
being in charge? Well, she would never open the Gryffindor tower door. That's what I would do if I were her.
Be problematic. I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry, you're not giving me security? Done. I'm never opening again.
She is an important picture.
Possibly. I had a couple of thoughts about, like, the whole having her put back on because of what Sir Cadogan did.
Yes.
Can we just talk about what an idiot that guy is? He drives me crazy.
I'm just glad he's gone. He's fired.
Me too. Thank goodness.
Yes. A little too much gung-ho. He's too something.
I just think maybe he's too enthusiastic
You're probably right.
A little too excited to be there, and it's like, take it down to like a 10.
Yeah. I really like, at the beginning of this chapter, Ron's newfound instant celebrity.
Yes.
One, he's hilarious, and the story gets, it's great. He does a good job telling it. I do find it slightly disappointing that Professor Lockhart isn't here for this, because I feel like he could really actually teach somebody something at this point, and how to capitalize on the celebrity, continue it, build from here. This could be a platform. It would have been the one thing Lockhart was good at. And he's kind of
like a masterclass on fame.
Yeah, like how to be famous without really trying.
Well, I wouldn't call it without really trying.
Yes. Well, without actually being good at anything.
Right. Or how to be famous by being famous.
Yes. I was going to throw a name out there, but I'm not going to go there. So
I had a similar name in mind.
Yeah. So that kind of effect. How do you monetize that? He would be great. He would have been a good ally for Ron at this point.
I agree. Why do you think Sirius ran?
Harry puts up a good point, or maybe Ron, he looked at him and I looked back, and I don't know, and then he stared at me. Maybe that was it. Maybe this was an intense staring match. He just could not win.
Maybe. Like, oh no, I'm going to look at you. I always thought it was like, he sees Ron. It's not the kid I want. Oh no, he's screaming. I gotta go.
Yeah, like Harry's the target. He gets to Harry, pulls it. Ron wakes up. Not the right guy. You've got the wrong target. Now you just abort the mission. Like, things did not go as planned. Get out of here while you can.
Retreat.
Yes, exactly. Throw the white flags.
So I had this random thought about this whole attack thing. So Sirius broke in earlier in the year on Halloween.
Yes.
And that's when the fat lady was injured. And in response to the attack, Dumbledore called the entire school down and had them do the big sleepover in the Great Hall.
Yes.
This time, a student was actually attacked in Gryffindor Tower.
Yes.
Sort of attacked.
No, yeah, no, but
right,
yes.
Like threatened. Nobody's told to leave.
No.
Nobody is asked to go anywhere else. We don't even know if the rest of the school knows. There is no cozy sleeping bag sleepover in the Great Hall. Do you feel like this is an oversight on the safety and security of Gryffindor Tower, that they just left the kids there?
Wait, yes. And maybe last time after, they had their little meeting, teachers meeting, they realized they had every single child in one spot, becoming a very easy target. So this became the new protocol to keep
they put new safety measures in place.
Yes. Maybe. I don't really know, but maybe this has been their decision. Let's keep them separated. So, they might get a quarter of them, not all of them. So.
It seems like he's only going for Gryffindor, so we'll just keep the other 3 there. And, well, we don't really need the Gryffindors. It's fine.
That'll be okay.
No worries.
So Hagrid, just taking those wins right out of Ron's sails. I've already heard about it. Like, you can just, I say see, you're reading, but I see Ron's whole, just slump. Oh, okay.
But, he cut him off almost, mid-thought. So his mouth's probably open, and he's, standing there what? And, and then all of a sudden the mouth drops, and the eyes drop, and he looks. Yeah, no, I could totally play the scene.
This is, I would say, the strongest Hagrid scene thus far.
In the series or in the book?
In the series up to this point, this is probably my favorite. I just think Hagrid gets all the points. All the points to Hagrid.
Oh, absolutely. Because he takes the boys to task for being dumb boys.
Mm-hmm. And I love that they're worried about not helping with Buckbeak. And he's like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of not a cool friend move. Hey, I'm going to help you out. And then you bolt and don't check back in. But he's like, wait, no, that's not even, okay, I don't care about that. And he really doesn't. He doesn't.
No.
He thought it was nice for them to offer, but never held that on a kid, because they are still kids. It was the other issues that...
I would have to say, I tend to do that a lot. I'll say to somebody oh, if you need help, or people be like, hey, if you need me, and you never call. You never ask. You just like,
it was the kind thing to say.
Yes. And Hagrid knows that.
Yes. So he's like, that's not the issue, boys. And
I do really like that when they start trying to argue back with him about the Hermione thing. He's like, whoa, like people can be a bit stupid about their pets.
Yes.
No one else could say that line effectively because nobody is stupider about their pets than Hagrid.
And they know it's true.
Yes.
How much trouble have that he gotten them in over his pets?
Norbert.
Yes, Norbert. Aw, cute guy. And I think we should
Fluffy.
talk about all these great decisions for a cat
Aragog.
doing cat things.
Cats doing cat things.
No, they do cat things. But
They do.
I think we know how much stress or work Hermione has put on herself, and she is drained. And we find out here that, oh, don't worry, Hermione hasn't forgotten about the Buckbeak case and has been down here prepping him. And, man, does she sleep?
No.
I don't think so.
No. I can relate.
Yeah, I don't want to work that hard.
I do work that hard.
I know
Man,
you
I
do.
like my...
You do. I'm more of a Harry Rod type of friend. Sorry, friends.
That's what makes you our Gryffindor and I'm the Ravenclaw.
Mm-hmm.
Why Hermione's in Ravenclaw? Lord only knows.
You mean Gryffindor.
Oh, yeah. See? Nope. It's tired.
Even your brain is like fused. She shouldn't be there.
You want to know why she's there?
Yes, sure.
Because without her, the series would be boring. Harry has to have her next to him.
Died in the first year, so
and they would never have figured out the Chamber of Secrets because she had to figure out months before, but petrified, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, no, Hermione is absolutely like savior lifeline. So had to be in Gryffindor.
She's perfect.
Can we talk though about Hagrid getting ready for Buckbeak's trial?
Yes, please
First
do.
of all, the suit, spot on for Hagrid.
I think it's like the 70s. Like that's
of course.
That is totally what I'm imagining. Maybe like some suede, a big fat yeah, like
There should be bell bottoms.
There probably is.
Oh yeah.
But we're getting it through Harry's point of view, so maybe he didn't know bell bottoms were called bell bottoms and didn't,
he was born in 1980, so he probably wouldn't know.
No, right?
At least not at the age of 13.
No.
Okay, so I do have like a little bone to pick with Hagrid taking Buckbeak. So, Hagrid says that he books beds on the night bus for himself and Buckbeak.
Yes.
That's how they're going to get there. My pondering is, how does he do this? Because we were introduced to the night bus as it's emergency transport for the stranded witch or wizard. So how does one pre-book strandedness?
An emergency.
And two, Buckbeak is neither a witch nor a wizard.
Or maybe there's multiple night buses. Like that's the company. And the one Harry happened to get on was the night bus for the stranded witch or wizard. Whereas,
as opposed to like the night bus Amtrak where you buy your tickets in advance.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I've never seen another night bus. Convenient. I'm not sure.
True. It is only, we just got introduced to it, 12 chapters ago. And so it's not like.
Who's taking the night bus when you can take like flu powder or a broom?
Or doesn't Buckbeak fly?
Oh, yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Or are they trying to avoid all like
scariness of him?
But flying is cool.
Yeah. Maybe it's his legal team's wish that he show him to be docile bus rider.
In which case, it begs the question, how do you transport magical creatures in the first place? Do they always go on the night bus? Is it like night bus, like horse trailer?
I don't know.
It just bothered me this time that they were having transport on the night bus. And can we talk about how he's booking beds for them?
How far away are they going?
Yep. London, maybe? Yeah. I would assume London.
I don't know.
I don't either. Just a random thought that I had. How about you? How about we talk about going to Hogsmeade? And before we talk about Hogsmeade, let's talk about Harry blowing off Neville to go to Hogsmeade.
There we go. Yep.
Okay, so Harry has a plan. Harry is going to meet Ron and Hogsmeade. I get it.
Yeah.
And then he runs into Neville, and Neville gets in the way, and so Harry's like trying to give him the slip.
Yes.
But it always makes me really sad for Neville that Harry treated him this way.
I'm sad for Neville. I'm sad that it seems like everybody in Neville's life does that to him. It doesn't make me feel bad about Harry, though, because, yeah, I feel like Harry can't live his whole life tiptoeing around not hurting Neville's feelings, but it does stink that it's always Neville. And he says, "Oh, Harry, I forgot that you weren't going to Hogsmeade." Do you believe that he really forgot that Harry wasn't going to Hogsmeade?
Yes, because Neville is only ever described as round-faced and forgetful.
Yeah.
So if it were any other character, I would say, of course not.
Yeah. He was
but the only thing we know about him is that he's forgetful. So for him,
yes.
believable.
I get that.
Well, I guess my thought is, okay, say no, but like don't give him the slip like that. You know what I mean?
Just
be honest and say, look, I have plans. I'm kind of doing the thing by myself. Mm-hmm. Maybe next time. But I just kind of need some time alone. Like, be respectful enough to say no directly instead of, putting him in a Gryffindor tower and then giving him the slip and never coming back. Because how long did Neville maybe wait there, hoping that Harry would be coming back soon?
And then the realization, I just got the slip. Like,
yeah,
that stinks. I take more issue with his grandmother. Neville has already been dealt a harsh punishment.
Yes.
I'm not going to say I don't disagree with it, but it's harsh. And then you get a howler from your grandmother that everybody can hear. She's very well versed in this magical world. She knows how this works. That not only screams and yells at him about a decision he's probably already sick over, she calls him a disgrace to their entire family. That is where my feelings for Neville. Do I think he should have gotten a stern warning talking to communication with a family member? Yeah, I think that's warranted. But to be publicly humiliated again, I just don't think that's the stance as a parent or guardian that I would take.
I don't know.
No?
Well, I would want to say no.
Yeah.
But I also know that sometimes a little peer pressure or peer acknowledgement can be an effective tool. I'm not saying it's nice, but it can be an effective motivator to avoid the behavior again.
I will embarrass you in front of all these people.
Right. I don't have a problem yelling at you in front of all your friends, except it's, boarding school. So the howler is the way to achieve that. Mm-hmm. If it were me, I probably would have sent a howler. I don't like the line about disgrace to the family.
Yes.
But howlers to me are something that you're only going to write in the heat of an emotional moment.
Yes.
And there's probably not like an edit to it. Once like
sent.
A letter, you can write it out and you can look at it and be like, no, I need to change this. But once you speak the howler, there's no going back.
So if there's a company out there that specializes in howlers, I'd buy those too.
I don't know if I would buy them because I'd be too tempted to use them. I think that would be how I wouldn't use them as a parent. I just wouldn't have them available to me.
I wasn't thinking about as a parent, just in general.
Ooh, when would you use a howler?
There's multiple situations they could be very effective as, the person yelling at like the guy at a fast food restaurant over stupid things they have no control over, and it's really just a cheeseburger, and they're getting you a new one. I'd give them to that guy.
The parents who are being too hard on their kids in like the Pee Wee League soccer game.
Yep.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be fun.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you send the howlers for me.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Deal. All right. I love the trip to Hogsmeade, but I don't really have a lot of thoughts about it. They just hang out at Hogsmeade.
Yes. And I did like Ron's little, this is weird. Him being just invisible behind him. It's
kind of like when people walk around with their headphones in, like their earbuds in, and they've got the microphone on the earbuds and they're talking just to that, and you have no idea.
And you respond to them, and it gets real awkward because then you realize
you're like, what? You're like, you're talking to nobody.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna smile. Like, I got this. Yeah. No, that's what it's probably like.
I also thought it was funny when they're deciding. Harry and Ron do a little. Hermione says, "I will tell on you if you go. I will tell them about the passage or whatever." Which I know, like. I get her heart is in the right place, but whatever.
But also, at some point, you have to be 13.
Yes, definitely. I, however, did not like Ron's, argument of, well, last time you went, you didn't see anything. And, nothing happened last time. Like, it's that rationale. Like, I didn't get in a car accident last time. So this time I won't wear my seatbelt.
Right.
Like, it is dangerous. That's why there's laws, or in this case, not punishment. What am I looking for? Just, this statute
requirement.
Put in. Yeah. Because it's keeping everybody safe. And I was just like, oh, Ron, you would just encourage this.
Right.
You'd be okay.
Like, I know. And this is parts of the things that I love so much about the series is how dumb the kids are sometimes. Because she lets them be kids.
Yes. Like, really, what is going to happen? That's their whole point. He's going to go to Hogsmeade. And nothing really happens this time either until he gets caught being there.
But, the whole getting caught being there thing was a thing.
That's
the thing. Although, I will say it was kind of worth it to be able to do that to Malfoy. Like, totally worth the gamble.
Oh, yes. I always like to get in a good dig at Malfoy. That always makes me happy.
And now I will say, I'm not Slytherins in general, but Malfoy bashing, big fan.
Yep. Bash away.
That was totally all worth it. He looks so dumb.
Yeah. And, oh, man. He's a git.
Truth. I agree with you.
Yep.
So let's talk about Harry trying really hard once he gets caught by Snape.
Yes.
Or pseudo caught by Snape. Potentially caught pink-handed. I wouldn't say red. Not quite full on red, but...
it's like you knew they cut their hair is cut, but they're saying no and you didn't see them cut their hair, so you don't actually have proof. It's just... Right. I feel like it's very obvious to Snape. And Harry does this awesome thing where he just tries to not say anything.
Yes. And this is not the first time in this book we've seen him do that, because he did it with Cornelius Fudge at the Leaky Cauldron. He just sat there.
It's a good tactic, We'll
it's
just see.
Frustrating as the adult.
We'll just see what info they have before we make any rash decision to respond. Don't incriminate yourself. Smart, Harry.
See, whereas I'm looking at all the adults going, okay, stop talking and just stare. And just wait for a very long time. That tends to help.
I feel like if we were detectives, you'd be bad cop. I'd be good cop.
I feel like that's not even a question. Like, how are you just coming to this realization? Of course I'd be the bad cop.
Yeah, you would. And you would just stare at them. And I would start talking because I would feel awkward. Please just say something. Please.
And don't get me wrong, I can talk a lot. Hence podcasting. Yeah. However, I have mastered the look.
Yes.
Just ask my students.
You've mastered that at like 12. No, probably like 10.
So my funny story is my students, now that we're getting towards the end of the year, are tending to respond in eye roll. And so I either have one of two responses. I either grade their eye rolls because like if you're going to eye roll, you need to have a quality eye roll. Or I say, that's okay, but I have decades more experience than you. So you really don't want to get in a competition with me. I've been doing this for 4 times longer than you have. And they all start laughing because they know I'm kind of joking. Kind of.
Yes.
Just enough.
Called them out on their eye roll like you didn't see it, please.
Right. And then sometimes it's like, I didn't eye roll. You sure?
Then are you feeling okay? Because your eyes hit the back of your head. You'd be okay.
Yes. But see, it's those kinds of things that I feel like Snape is missing. He's got the intention.
Oh, yeah.
But he's missing the nuanced subtleties of catching. He just wants to yell or be like, you're wrong.
Yes. So with Snape here, I take issue with him that he is so mean, it seems like, just vicious to Harry about something that Harry has nothing to do with. Like, okay, Harry can say, well, my dad saved you, and yes, I believe he has this story wrong, possibly. You know, he's told, like, your dad only saved me to save himself. But, like, the sins of the father are the sins of the son. I don't know. I don't understand why, as an educated, like, I would say he's probably a pretty highly educated wizard. He's an educator. And, like, how does that happen? Like, how his intelligence is just too high, I feel like, for him to really just have this much hate for a child. Right. I don't know.
I think I agree with you, but and adding to that, Harry doesn't know his dad.
Yes.
And let the poor kid just have a little bit of something to hang on to, of a man he's never known.
Right.
Let him idol worship this guy, because it's not going to do anybody any harm.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much to hang on to. So, like, just give it to him.
Yep. And he doesn't, and he won't. And even if they were absolute worst enemies, it's his kid whose dad's dead. Like.
Right. And at the end of the day, like, you're the adult.
Yep.
And that's, like, the big thing. At the end of the day, like, I make jokes and stuff with my kids, or, you know, talk about their eye rolls, because I'm the adult. I don't need to get mad at them. I get it. You're being a kid.
Right.
That's what you do.
He's just too smart to sit here and play this game without some serious mental craziness going on or something. I don't know. He baffles me.
Yes. So what do you think about Snape calling Lupin?
Well, it kind of reminded me, you know, the scene, it's in this really great movie called The Lion King, when Scar goes, Sarabi! That's just kind of how I've already...
Oh my gosh. Hold on, wait. That's the illustration.
That is...
It's
okay,
like
that's
the human form of Scar.
Yes.
With the goatee and the weird hair.
Yes.
Oh.
I wanted to get to that point. Jeez. Like, he's Scar. He's Remus Lupin! You know? It's just that convenient, I guess. I don't know.
I'm just over here going, that is the most brilliant thing I've heard. Yes, Snape is Scar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I wonder who that makes Mufasa. Dumbledore?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Harry.
We don't know anybody else.
No, yeah, he'd be a good Dumbledore.
Harry is Simba.
Yep.
Okay, so we're casting Harry Potter characters as Lion King. And then we have Lupin.
Yes. Oh, man.
Who is apparently Timon and Pumbaa. I don't know.
Or he's Zazu. Like,
oh, maybe.
Beck and call. Okay. Just go.
Oh, okay. So I really like that Lupin covers for Harry. That's amazing. But then, like, gets him out of it, but still, like, gives it to Harry for being kind of an idiot about it.
Yes.
Like, he knows that if Snape was too involved, it would be too much, but that it's really not okay what he did.
That Lupin is the man here. Harry knows absolutely what he did was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. And that Harry understood that it was wrong. What Lupin does is bring it into perspective of it's not just against the rules. This is extremely dangerous. And he just says it in a way that Harry, not because he's a child, but understands at a deeper level. It's not just people trying to be mean to him or sticklers or have it out for him. It's
actually the people who are looking out for him the most.
Yes.
Yep.
It's coming from a genuine place.
Yeah.
That is how I wished Neville's grandmother's correspondence with him would be. Because we think about how Harry has not much. He doesn't have that parental love figure, but I don't think Neville does either. All he gets is screaming grandma. So
I think the difference is I think Neville's grandmother does love him. I think she just has a tough love way of showing it.
Yes.
And for a sensitive kid like Neville, it is not always the best way to be raised.
Yeah, I think I'd pick Neville's grandmother over the Dursleys any day.
I think I would pick Neville's grandmother over a lot of parents.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to be raised by the Malfoys.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
That would be like the bottom of the barrel.
Kind of a jerk. right? Not the Dursleys. Not having dead parents.
No.
Not Snape.
Mm-mm.
I'm good. Neville's grandmother. So
She's
far.
probably a lot like McGonagall.
Right. But, and for most, it's like, I bet she'd be great for Harry.
Yep.
So second best parent we've seen in the book so far in the series. I mean, Weasley's being number one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would have to just assume Hermione's parents are pretty great.
Okay,
They're-
third.
Yep.
Okay.
We can go with third.
Well, then there's Ron, who's so helpful.
He just, comes in running out of breath just to make sure that Snape understands that, or was it Snape or Lupin that he runs in to see Lupin?
Snape.
Okay, cool. So he comes in running to Snape. They were for me. All that stuff. It was for me. Completely convincing. Good cover, Ron.
Like, how would he even know?
He's a genius. I don't know.
I had a sixth sense that Harry was caught with things that he got from a long time ago. So it's mine now, and we are fine.
Yes.
Awkward smile.
Everybody's believing it. All right, cool. Head nod.
Got it. Oh, I own this room.
Yes.
Nice. Not even a little bit. Clueless Ron.
I know. He's
All
a
right,
good
so
friend.
He is a good friend in not the best ways in this chapter, though.
No, definitely not the best ways.
No. So 2 more thoughts before we move off of our notes section.
Yep.
Let's talk about what the Marauders map does to Snape.
Oh, I wonder about this. One, we know it's a magical device, tool.
Yes.
But how does it know that Snape has it in his hands to write his name onto it?
I don't know.
It's amazing.
Well, he wrote his name first. So, is that right? No, he yelled at it. Remember?
It says
So it's
Professor Snape. But so this map listen? I guess, yeah, it does, because you have to
Right.
open and close it.
and he did use his wand with it. So it says,
Yes.
Professor Severus Snape, master of this school, commands you to yield the information you conceal, Snape said, hitting the map with his wand. And then, and I'm just going to read the whole thing. So, bear with me, people. As though an invisible hand were writing upon it, words appeared on the smooth surface of the map. Mr. Moody presents his compliments to Professor Snape and begs him to keep his abnormally large nose out of other people's business. Snape froze. Harry stared, dumbstruck at the message. But the map didn't stop there. More writing was appearing beneath the first. Mr. Prongs agrees with Mr. Mooney. I would like to add that Professor Snape is an ugly git. It would have been funny if the situation hadn't been so serious. And there was more. Mr. Padfoot would like to register his astonishment that an idiot like that ever became a professor. Harry closed his eyes in horror. When he'd opened them, the map had had its last word. Mr. Wormtail bids Professor Snape a good day and advises him to wash his hair, the slime ball.
If Ron couldn't have made the situation better, the map sure didn't.
See? I actually think the map was awesome.
I think it was awesome. It's a very smart map.
The important line is, it would have been very funny if the situation hadn't been so serious.
Oh, Harry. Yeah.
Like, you almost had it there.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So close.
He's just, it's an unfortunate situation. Just like going downhill, like quickly. We were okay while we were quiet, and then it just got worse.
It's like watching a train wreck or a car accident happen in slow motion. You can't not watch.
Yep.
Oh, so bad. Okay, ready for the last thought for this section?
Yep. Sure.
Hagrid lost.
Yep. He lost his case.
That's really sad.
Mm-hmm. It is extremely sad.
That's all. It's just sad.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, Abby, we are
Yes.
going to jump into our section that we like to call 5 Burning Questions. And you, I believe, are the asker. What questions do you have for the panel?
Is the punishment of Neville too harsh?
I think yes. There are too many pieces to it.
It was a
Because-
serious crime. Seriously.
It was an accident. Seriously, funny. I think it was an accident. I don't think it was done with... he's forgetful. People know this. And Sir Cadogan had that giant list of ridiculous passwords. So there's a lot of blame to be placed there. And yes, Neville lost it. And yes, there should be some consequences. I'm not saying there shouldn't. But not only is he not allowed to get into his own room and his own things on his own, but he also can never go to Hogsmeade.
Yeah,
It's like one too many.
it's rough. It is also, I feel like, was a rash punishment handed
Yes.
out. Very anger-filled, which I understand it's not. It was a extremely dangerous situation. And
Yes.
this thing that especially McGonagall has tried to work with Neville on has just bitten him in the you-know-what really hard. And
True.
she's angry. But I will say, like, he put lives at risk, so I don't know. I mean, harsh,
Well,
yes.
so here's my question.
Mhm.
Would you adjust any of it? Or would you leave it at can no longer know the password ever and can no longer go to Hogsmeade ever? Or would you adjust maybe the length of time
Evers would be, I think, adjusted.
That's what I was thinking. I think the one thing I always wondered about though,
Mhm.
how effective is it for him to just not know the passwords? Because he has to, well, so think about it. He has to hang out outside of the fat lady's picture until somebody says the password to let him in.
Yes.
Wouldn't he at that point hear said password and then know it?
Yes. I mean,
So I feel like that punishment is a little like
silly.
unable to be followed through with.
Yes. That is true. It's not like, don't tell Neville, make him walk down the hall and then say it.
But hold the door?
Yeah.
Like now you're punishing all of Gryffindors who already got attacked. Like,
oh, man. I mean, I think it's a good punishment for security purposes. At least this way, no papers will be around. Effective in that.
I mean, I agree with you, but I just don't see.
I mean, if the punishment was you are never allowed to write them down again. I don't care if you have to wait outside all night.
Yes.
Don't ever write them down again. Would be different.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. How about your next question?
How did Lupin know it was a map?
That's a great question. Do you think it was because it is a dark art type item that he has some knowledge about that we don't know yet? Being the defender against the dark arts professor?
Well, I think if it was really a dark artifact, that he wouldn't have been so kind to Harry about having it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think it was dark, but I mean, he's a pretty smart guy.
Right.
Other than him just being about the smartest person that we've had, at least in that position.
Right.
I mean, he's
can't say about, he's actually the smartest.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say smartest professor, but I'm not going to say that. But definitely, top 5.
Probably.
Yeah, easy. I mean,
all right.
Number 3. How did Draco get back so much faster than Harry that he could tell his tale to Snape, and then Snape was able to go hunt for Harry?
Well, Harry had to get back into Honeydukes.
Yes.
And go, through the whole path thing.
Yes.
So maybe the above ground journey from Hogsmeade to Hogwarts is less...
Don't they say
strenuous?
At some point they'll take something down to Hogsmeade? Do they take some type of transportation down?
Oh, I thought they walked.
Do they walk? I don't remember. I
don't know either. I don't think it necessarily says, again, because Harry's never allowed to do it. Yeah. So we haven't experienced that.
I just wonder, it seems like there's about the same amount of pathways, but Harry still has to covertly get back into a filled shop down underneath. My favorite thing that he does is... So he has the map in his possession. He has all these candies, whatever, with him, incriminating evidence. But he leaves the invisibility cloak at all costs. Protect the cloak.
If only he had left everything else with him.
Dump your pockets.
Just wrap it all up in the cloak like a little sack and just set it there. It'll be safe.
Yep. I did wonder why that. I think... maybe he was holding the cloak. Everything else was tucked in his pockets, so he just kind of...
And he forgot.
Dropped it, it was in front of him, in hand, so he was like, oh, get rid of this. And the rest was forgotten about, but...
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, I thought it was a good move, because you don't want Snape having that.
No, not at all.
Why does Harry not check the map before emerging from the statue of the One-Eyed Witch?
Well, this goes right back to what we were just talking about. I'm going to go with forgotten.
Yeah. He's just trying.
I mean, I just got to get back as fast as possible. No, I totally didn't even think about it. Not even a consideration.
I think Harry right here is probably in survival mode. He's just trying to get through it, and there's not much actual thought going on. His only thought is get into this castle before I can be proven to be gone.
Yes.
So, and lastly, was Snape telling the truth about Harry's father saving his life?
I think Snape thinks he is.
Yes.
Does that make sense? I don't necessarily believe that's the whole story. But even to people experiencing an event, they only know as much as they are physically present for. There may have been, I mean, we don't know. There may have been extenuating circumstances or outside events that Snape was not present for, that Harry's father or Dumbledore or whoever were there for.
Right.
So from Snape's perspective, yeah, that's probably what happened. But I don't necessarily think he's a very reliable narrator in that moment, because his perspective is very skewed and limited.
That sounds reasonable. I've always just taken it at face value. Like, I've always just believed it for what it was. But it is true. He's only telling his side.
And so I've always decided he was a jerk and I didn't want to believe him. So I always tried really hard to not believe him.
Yes.
And I've only recently started looking at it in terms of, again, that unreliable narrator piece, that everybody, when they tell something, is only telling as much as they're aware of,
right,
and nobody knows the whole story. So if you're getting it from a character specifically,
right,
then I don't trust it until it's proven with non-character told storytelling.
Yep.
There's a difference between like the narrator telling us this is happening and a character saying, oh, this happened to me and this is why. I don't trust you because you're a person and persons have flaws.
I would say correct.
Excellent. I like being right.
Yep.
All right. Now we're going to get into some chapter superlatives.
All right. So I'm going to read one that Luke has written down here because I picked a
We gotta
different one.
We'll give him a little shout out.
Yeah,
a little
hey,
mini Luke for y'all.
Hey, Luke. But I gotta tell ya, I thought you two'd value your friendship more than broomsticks or rats. That's all. Harry and Ron exchange uncomfortable looks.
So apparently, Luke also likes when Hagrid kind of lets Harry and Ron have it.
Yep. Go Hagrid. So mine, I'm going to go with... Mine comes from when Neville and Harry meet, and they're seen by Professor Snape, and Harry says, "We're not meeting here. We just met here."
I like that line.
And if you are an authoritative figure hearing that, it sounds like such an excuse or a poor formulated excuse. And but if you're really in that situation and that's really what happened, there's kind of no better explanation. Like, we just met here. This is a
spot where we happen to run into each other. We did not plan for any sort of outing that happens to occur at this location.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's a good line. All right, so my line, I actually didn't choose a funny one, which is very unlike me. I chose one that was very serious.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, but not serious. So it's a Lupin line, actually. And it's when he's letting Harry have it in his very Lupin-esque way. And it says, "Your parents gave their lives to keep you alive, Harry. A poor way to repay them, gambling their sacrifice for a bag of magic tricks."
Mm-hmm. Get him.
I mean, the guilt in that is spot on.
Yep.
I also think it's funny that Lupin calls them magic tricks, like what we would expect from like joke shop type,
yes,
muggle magic, if you will. That's what it makes me think, and like my little sub funny part of the magic tricks part. But for the most part, Lupin is excellent at people care about you.
Yes.
And then lay on that guilt. Let's go. All right. So, Abby, do you have a chapter MVP? You get to pick it. Look at you, guest host, choosing the MVP.
I'm going to go with Hagrid.
Nice.
This is a good Hagrid moment for many reasons. And poor Buckbeak. He needed a win.
Not today.
Yep. Not today.
I have an honorable mention, and that was Lupin for reasons previously discussed. He was very much the authoritative figure without being mean, just honest.
He almost does the Hagrid thing that he did to the boys. Lupin does that again to Harry. Like, we see it twice. To Guilt trip. Look at yourself. What you're doing is not cool. Let it sink in.
Technically, I would say, I actually think they got it 3 times. If you count Hermione's, if you sneak out again, I'm going to tell them about the map. Like, it's a very guilt-heavy chapter.
It's been a rough couple days.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple days, I think. But, I mean, but sometimes you need that when you keep making poor choices.
Right.
I mean,
if the boot fits.
I said, if the boot fits. Thank you, Jessie from Toy Story.
Yeah.
I think that wraps us up.
I would agree.
Listeners, you are welcome to find us and speak with us or send us your thoughts at Not Named Podcast on Twitter. You can email us at thepodcastthat@gmail.com, or you can find our website at thepodcastthat.com.
Subscribe, like, and rate us on iTunes. A special thanks for the summary by Carrie.
Join us next week when we discuss chapter number 15,
The Quidditch Final. Stay imaginary.
Thanks.